CNBC has a bombshell report for us about the election. They say the following here. FBI Director James Comey argued privately that it was too close to Election Day for the United States government to name Russia as meddling in the U.S. election and ultimately ensured that the FBI's name was not on the document that the U.S. government put out, a former bureau official tells CNBC. The official said some government insiders are perplexed as to why Comey would have election timing concerns with the Russian disclosure, but not with the Huma Abedin email disclosure he made Friday. So, wow, that is surprising. Now, guys, you know I've spoken about it 1,000,001 times. I do think the Democrats are just doing red baiting at this point. Whenever they get caught in something they don't have an answer to, they go, Russia, Russia, fucking Russia. By you bringing up that thing that makes me look bad, you're a Russian agent and you love Vladimir Putin. I'm not kidding. That's the argument they've used. In fact, it's happened with WikiLeaks revelations, where we know that the thing in question is true. We know it's factual. We know it happened. We know it makes the Democrats look terrible. And we know it makes Hillary Clinton look like a corrupt insider, because she is. So her team does what? Russia, fucking Russia. Russia, we're a victim of a cybercrime. So don't talk about that thing that's really important that exposes us for being corrupt, because Russia. So, okay, that is 100% true that they are doing, red baiting. It is also true, though, that I don't know who did the hacks and why they did the hacks. Now, I support WikiLeaks releasing it because your job, if you're in the journalism game, your job is to run with the information. Your job is to release it because it's in the public interest in this case, and it's in the public good. So I'm on WikiLeaks' side in releasing it, but that doesn't mean that I know who did the original hacks and gave the information over to WikiLeaks. Is it possible it's Russia? Sure, it's possible it's Russia. Now, what would their reasoning be behind it? I couldn't tell you. I don't know what their reasoning is. Now, furthermore, there also are legitimate questions, even with the Democrats red baiting and going over the top and doing anti-Russian propaganda and fear-mongering. It also is true that there were some credible, legitimate concerns about, for example, Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, who he's now let go. But Paul Manafort, yes, having ties to oligarchs in Russia, having direct deals with them, being involved with them in Ukraine as well, the pro-Russian side in Ukraine and with all the fallout and what's happening there now. He did business with them. It's known he did business with them. It's known that he has connections with them. Now, again, both things are true. The Democrats have gone over the top with the anti-Russian fear-mongering, and it is also a fact that Paul Manafort has done business with the Russians. Trump, it's a more open question. There's a lot of bullshit trying to link him to them now, but the evidence is not clear in the case of Trump. But either way, the point here is FBI Director James Comey said when it came to, hopping on board and signing a letter that says, yeah, Russia is kind of interfering in the election, when it came to that, Comey behind closed doors was like, look, true or not true, I'm not going to sign on to that letter, because if I sign on to that letter, I'm meddling and interfering in our election too close to Election Day. And technically, guess what? That's against the law. So I think that it's 60 days or less, moving towards an election. You can't have government officials dropping bombshells like this that would sway the election. Because then, I guess the argument goes you're opening it up for different political actors within the government, whether they be Republicans or Democrats, to basically bullshit and sway an election based off of a bombshell that's not true, because they're just playing politics from within the government. So, I guess there's a argument for the law. I'm not sure I agree with the law in general. In fact, I lean towards not agreeing with it. But either way, that's neither here nor there. The law is on the books, and we are talking about within 60 days of the election. And Comey said when it was something that may have, had an effect in favor of Hillary and against Donald Trump, Comey was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to release the information on that, and I'm not going to sign on to that, because that may be unfair and sway people too close to the election, and that's not the right thing to do. Now, contrast that with what he did just recently with the email case. With Hillary Clinton's email case, as we just went over, he found, or I should say, the FBI found emails that Anthony Weiner had and Huma Abedin had on Anthony Weiner's computer when they're investigating Weiner for a totally separate crime, obviously sexting stuff, minors to be clear. So they found emails between Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin. And they say, hey, look, we got to reopen the case here because there's more emails. They also admit, now we don't know if these emails are actually new or if these are old and we've already gone through them, but either way, we're going to go through the thousands of emails that are between Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin that are on Anthony Weiner's computer, and we're going to kind of reopen the investigation, and I just want to let everybody know that this whole email thing isn't totally done yet. So you release that information, which is a bombshell in the election, within 60 days, and you're fine with it, and you're cool with it. But you also refuse to release a bombshell in the other direction because you say, well, that would be unfair and that would be swaying the election and that would be within 60 days. Okay, now what the fuck is going on here, man? This is crazy. So that's a clear double standard, and it does show that he's playing politics. I don't know if James Comey is pro-Trump or if he's just trying to, as I said before, he is a Republican, so it's possible he's just trying to tighten up the election to make it so that the Senate and the House are safe for Republicans when they're threatened. They were threatened before the email news. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but I find it super weird. And I also find it weird that when you go back to the original Comey investigation and his announcement, he basically said, yeah, Hillary Clinton broke the law in 912 ways, but no reasonable prosecutor would bring charges against her because, her intent was pure. Well, again, intent didn't matter for Edward Snowden. Intent didn't matter for Chelsea Manning. So you invented a new standard to protect Hillary Clinton. So back then you're protecting her. Now it looks like you're biased against her with this Trump-Russia thing and her with the email thing again. So I just don't know what the fuck is going on. There's some fuckery going on in the deep state. There's no doubt about that. But the double standards are weird. And I'm having trouble. This is first time in a while where I'm sitting down, I'm looking at all the evidence, and I'm like, okay, none of this adds up. I don't get what's going on here. So, look, I'm here to just give you the facts, and if I'm confused about what's happening, it's my job to come out here and tell you, hey, here are the facts, and by the way, I'm confused. So there it is. I'm confused. I don't know exactly what's going on. There appears to be contradictory evidence as to who the FBI and James Comey favors and why they're doing it. The only thing I'm sure of is it's not like Comey and the FBI, they're on the up and up and they're just being totally apolitical here. That's certainly not the case. I know that's not the case, but everything else is on the table. So, Hillary Clinton's email case kind of reopened, even though maybe they already reviewed the emails, in which case it wouldn't be reopened and they just say, whatever. And he also refused to sign on to something that would affect the election in the other direction. Your guess is as good as mine as to what's going on here, but it doesn't add up because back when it was the original investigation, he came out and basically protected Hillary and said she broke the law, but whatevs. So back then he protects her, now he's against her, and we are all confused.